I've completed 1 month on eBay and I am going to share with you how much I've made so far, what's sold, some bad buys that I've made, and some lessons that I've learned. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hi, I'm Michelle. Welcome to Connect Collective. I am a reseller on eBay. I actually started selling on eBay about 5 years ago and then had to quit. And I just recently restarted in the month of September. So after a 4-year break, I came back and I am attempting to build eBay into a full-time business. I am starting out with a logical goal. By the end of this year, I want to net $5,000. So how did I do in the month of September and how close does it get me to my goal? So as you can see, in the month of September, I sold 26 items and the total sales is $1,542.18. Taxes and fees came to $99.25 and selling costs, including shipping, and I do offer free shipping on every item that I sell, is $425.28. That gives me a net of $1,017.65. But as you know, that is not the full story, right? So when you look at that $1,017, what about the cost of goods? You have to include that too. So fortunately, most of the items that I put on eBay for the first month, I already had. They were part of an inherited lot, so my cost of goods was super low. It was lower than $50. So that was almost $1,000 profit. I am very, very happy with that in my first month because I'm trying to build strong systems, nice and slow, so that my business runs smooth long term. So let's go ahead and look at what kind of items sold. So the categories were collectibles. So as you can see, collectibles was 73% of what I sold. So part of the inherited lot that I have had a ton of Swarovski crystal Christmas ornaments. Those are collectibles. They're highly desirable, especially if you have older ones, which I did. Once they are made that year, they are limited edition. They are no longer made, so people have to go to platforms like eBay to find those ornaments. And for several of them, I had the certificate of authentication and I had all the paperwork that went with it. I had all the pieces that come in a beautiful box, in a sleeve. I had everything. So I was able to get top dollar. In fact, one of the first sales that I made was $145 for one of those Swarovski ornaments. And I knew that when I started my store in Q4, that was going to be the first thing I listed were those ornaments. Okay, let's look at some other items. 12% of what I sold were from sporting goods. And as you can see here, it was lacrosse footwear. This was a unicorn purchase. It was absolutely phenomenal. So when I was selling on eBay before, that was during the pandemic. And right after all restrictions were lifted, we went out to source goods and we found a ton of lacrosse cleats at various Ross stores. If you have a Ross Dress for Less in your area, then you know what I'm talking about. They had these lacrosse cleats for $2.99 a pair. They were just trying to get them out of their stock, out of their stores. So we literally hit up every single Ross in an hour and a half radius and bought the cleats. And they have been selling like hotcakes since then. When we were doing eBay before, they sold like crazy. We sold them for a little less than $50 a pair. And so what I had left were these small size, a 5.5 in women's. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know that these weren't really selling before, so what do I do? And I listed them with the youth size as well. And I put that in my title, as you can see. And someone came along and within 12 hours of me listing them, they bought all 5 remaining pairs. for $170. I was so over the moon with that. They were getting a great price on them, and I was getting it out of my inventory, and I made a huge amount of money on those. That's my best sell for the month of September. And next was in sports memorabilia. And this is a really good buy as well. In fact, we are going to put this as a BOLO for you. So be on the lookout for this, you all. This is a be on the lookout, and also one of my worst purchases. I'll explain here in a second. So these are New Era 5950 baseball caps. They're absolutely beautiful, and this particular one is no longer made, and I have different teams and different occasions. I have some for Mother's Day, some for the 4th of July, absolutely beautiful baseball caps. And these have all of the stickers that people look for. So this is the sticker that authenticates that this is an official Major League Baseball cap. And it has the retail sticker and the sticker on top. People love to keep those on there. So I bought these right after the restrictions lifted, and it was one of the things that we bought in bulk, and they are a great buy in terms of sell-through. They sell like crazy if you can get the ones with all the stickers. However, we did not get them at a remarkable price. They were $10.99 each. I can sell them now for around $30, but remember that I include free shipping. So that means that if people are shipping them and adding the shipping cost and making the buyer pay for it, then they're selling theirs for about $25 or so. My margin on these is super, super slim, not because of the product, but because of the price that I purchased it at. So, to kind of quote, I think that it was Warren Buffett that said it, you make money when you buy. If it wasn't him, it was Charlie Munger, if you know anything about those guys. And so we did not make a lot of money when we bought these. If I could have bought those at $5 or less, then we would be in a much better situation. And so what happens is, because we paid so much for those baseball caps, I don't have a lot of room to negotiate with buyers. I enjoy the negotiation process. It allows me to communicate back and forth, and I love to get a product to somebody, but I have slim margins, so I really can't go very low on these because I will literally be paying someone to take it. In fact, someone made me a lowball offer of $15, and I couldn't get them anywhere near my price at all. So they negotiated with me a couple of different rounds, and we had to pass on that. So, but they are a BOLO. If you see baseball caps for a great price, especially if they've got all the stickers on them, make sure you grab it. They're fabulous. So another BOLO that I want to share with you is Legos. Let me go ahead and bring up on my screen this lot of Legos that I sold, and it was kind of fun to do it. These Legos included some Star Wars, Space Police 3, and airport characters from different Lego sets. And there was a total of 5 pounds, pretty much, 4.9 pounds of Legos in this lot. And I very specifically said that I was not going to disassemble everything. Now, I did wrap these within an inch of their life in bubble wrap to make sure everything was protected when it shipped, because I was not disassembling all of them. And I bought these Legos for $1 because the mom was like, I just don't want these in my house anymore. My kids are in high school. We don't need Legos hanging around the house. Please take them. So I took those Legos for $1. And some of the Legos were even discolored because they were older. Maybe they've been out in the sun. I don't know. And they even had taffy on them. Now, I tried to clean them the best I could, but I did disclose in the listing that, hey, if you find some candy on these, it's probably because children ate taffy around them. And I also disclosed that some of the pieces were yellowed, and I took pictures of that. I took pictures of the entire lot. I took up close photos of the characters and other pieces that I thought might interest the buyer. I was totally honest. So I felt really good about turning that $1 into $38. Now, that did include free shipping. I think I could have gotten a little bit more from it, but that was fine. I think I made about $20, maybe a little bit less, maybe closer to 17 or 18 after shipping and everything was included in fees and all that. But I think that that's just fine. It's out of my inventory now, and the buyer is very happy with his purchase. I do have some other Lego sets that I'm going to list in the next coming week. I will let you know how those sell. Now, these are actual sets, they're not just random bulk lots, so I think that they will do very well. Now I want to share with you some lessons that I learned this past month. So although I did eBay before and I know how the business operates and how to work the business, when you've been away from something for 4 years, you have to kind of remind yourself and figure out the ins and outs of things that you knew before. So some of the things that I am refreshing in my memory, not having to relearn totally, but refreshing my memory on is how to write a strong title. Now, here's one thing that you may not know about eBay and SEO and where you need to put your time and energy. So I'm going to tell you that the 3 places where you need to put your energy in order is the title of the product that you're selling. The item specifics are so important, and I kind of had forgotten that, so I'm trying to go back through the items that I initially listed and make sure that I have everything that I can possibly filled out, and as good as I possibly can. Then the third thing are the photos, of course, and they don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good. Make them look as good as you can and use the tools that eBay gives you. If you are in a poorly lit area, they give you a tool that will brighten the photograph. Caveat here, you have to make sure that it doesn't alter what the item looks like, especially if you're dealing with clothes like I do. So when you use that tool, sometimes it makes the color look way different than what it looks like in person. Don't use that tool if it does that, because then the buyer is going to receive something that does not look like the photograph. And now let's talk about the 4th thing that people put a lot of energy into, and I'm trying to get better about putting less energy but still doing a good job, and that is the item description. Now, when it comes to clothing, I put all of the measurements in the item specifications, but I also put it in the description because there are some measurements that either aren't in the item specifications or they have the information stated in a different way than what buyers might be expecting. For example, chest measurements in item specifications, it asks for chest measurement, and a lot of sellers are listing pit to pit, which is just across from one side to the other. Not necessarily, to me, I don't see that as the chest measurement. Chest measurement is all the way around. So I try to make sure I include that I include both to the best of my ability. What I am kind of letting go of, though, is writing sales language in the item description. It doesn't mean that I don't write a sentence or two about the item, but I am not going into fine detail like I am a marketing executive. I used to put a lot of time and energy into them, and I started doing that again, and I'm trying to peel that back because the most important things are the title, the item specifications, and the photos. And if the item description is slowing me down, then I've got to roll things out. I've got to move on. So I have to understand where I'm putting my energy and what is actually going to make the sale. Now, let's talk a little bit about best tools and worst tool. So the worst tool, let's start with that one. So the worst tool that I have found is actually eBay's suggested price. So as you're creating a listing and when you go down to pricing, eBay likes to help you out, and they are going to give you a suggested price, and it says sold listings in the last 90 days, and it tells you that the median sold price is $28 and free shipping is only on 9% of them. And I've already done my pricing research. I have looked specifically for the brand, the style, and the solds based on that. I have my item priced at $46.94, and this is a suit, a women's business suit. It is an Ann Taylor, I believe. But this is trying to compare it to other things that are not. So we've got a limited in here, we have a Casper, we have an Ann Taylor, we have a, I don't know what the brand is. So that I feel like I can't rely on it. I still look at it from time to time, but I do not rely on what they are telling me. If it makes me question the price that I've put in there because, you know, maybe I have prepped my draft a day or two before and I'm finishing it up now and now I can't remember why did I price it at that, then I will go back and I will do my research again, but don't trust that price. Make sure that you have done your research. This is your store. Okay, so that is the worst tool. What is the best tool? Well, I am kind of in love with the eBay calculator. I didn't know about it. Maybe you already know about it, but I sure as heck didn't know about it. So here is the eBay calculator. It's ebayfeescalculator.com. You see the link right up there. I will also put this link in the description below. But if I have an item, I already have one in here. Let's say that it's sold for, or I want to sell it for $65 and the item cost me $22 and shipping costs are going to be $15. How much would I make? And this allows me to put how many of those items do I have? What kind of a store do I have on eBay? I have a starter store. And am I promoting it? Yes, I am promoting it at 3%. And that's pretty much all the information I put in there because I want to see what my eBay fees are going to be. I'm not going to worry too much about sales tax. And I just want to see what my total profit is going to be. So this is actually for an item that this is the lowest price that I would want to accept. So $16.81 on this particular item would not be horrible. I'm actually listing it higher than that, but again, this would be the lowest price. So that allows me to see, okay, market price is closer to $80, but if I'm negotiating with someone, where do I feel comfortable on like drawing the line in the sand of I am not going below this price and how much would I still profit? So I find that tool to be incredibly helpful. I use it every single day, all day long. So we are just starting October. I have October, November, and December to net $5,000. I've already netted about 1,000 of that. So I have a little bit more than 4,000 to go. Fingers crossed I make it. And next week, I'm going to be talking about sourcing, how to source items, how to make sure you're sourcing the right kind of items, and how I go about it. I mean, everybody's got an opinion on this, and what works for me may not work for you, but I just want to share what I'm doing, especially since I'm just starting out kind of as a new eBay seller who's done it before. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Where are some areas where you struggle as a new eBay seller, or maybe you've been selling for a while, but you're struggling? Where are you struggling? Or if there's anything that I have mentioned in this video and you have a solution for it, I would love to hear it. Please put it in the comments below. Let's share it with everybody and learn from one another because that is what Connect Collective is all about. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoy this type of content and would like to watch more, you can click on this video right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.